Some stories aren't just about food, they are about coming home, identity, and a table big enough for everyone to share. And that's exactly what's happening when Canberra-born chef Georgia Lahiff brings a little bit of Rome back to her hometown for a special one-day event. Canberra-raised chef Georgia Lahiff is returning to her roots for a unique collaboration at Lunetta Trattoria, where she will blend the flavors and spirit of Rome with the energy and produce of Canberra. For one day only, she and Lunetta's head chef, will create a shared table dining experience that celebrates La Tavolata, the Italian tradition of gathering around a generous, abundant table. Georgia and Will first crossed paths about 18 months ago, during one of Georgia's earlier collaborations with Paranormal Wines, and the connection was instant. Since then, they've been looking for the right moment to cook side by side, and this event is the long-awaited result. Think communal tables, warm and chatty Italian-style hospitality, and Roman-inspired dishes built around fresh local ingredients. Georgia grew up in Ainslie in what she describes as a very food-centric household, where cooking and eating were part of everyday life rather than special occasions only. That early exposure to food culture nudged her into the kitchen professionally, and she began her chef apprenticeship at Pulp Kitchen while still in years 11 and 12 at Dixon College. Balancing school and a demanding kitchen job isn't easy, but it set the tone for her commitment to the craft. At first, she was unsure about stepping into professional kitchens, largely because of their reputation for being tough, high-pressure environments. But once she got in, she found that she loved the intensity, the rhythm, and the constant learning. Those early years gave her a solid grounding in European and French techniques, skills that would later underpin her work in some of the world's great food cities. One of her mentors in that period, a London-born chef, encouraged her to treat cooking as a passport, a skill that could take her anywhere on the globe. And that's exactly what she did. After finishing school, Georgia packed her bags for what was supposed to be a 3-month gap-year trip through Europe. Instead, that short adventure turned into a 2-year working visa stint in London, where she immersed herself in the city's restaurant scene. There, she landed a position at Spring, the acclaimed restaurant led by the late Australian Michelin-starred chef Sky Gingell, known for its focus on local, seasonal produce and thoughtful, ingredient-driven food. Working at Spring deepened Georgia's appreciation for hospitality. As more than just service, she saw how careful sourcing and seasonal menus could shape the entire dining experience. It also confirmed that the industry wasn't just a job for her, it was a long-term calling. That combination of Australian roots, London training and produce-focused cooking laid the groundwork for the next big shift in her career. From London, Georgia moved into a role that would fundamentally change how she thought about food and community, cooking with the Rome Sustainable Food Project. There, she cooked for resident artists as part of a program founded by Alice Waters, the legendary advocate for farm-to-table cuisine and sustainable, ethical food systems. Instead of the constant turnover of restaurant guests, she found herself cooking for the same small community twice a day, 5 days a week, over a period of 6 months. That routine forced a new mindset. Rather than designing menus only to impress, she began thinking deeply about nourishment, rhythm, and how food shapes people's daily lives. When you cook for the same group over and over, you start to pay more attention to balance, comfort, and how dishes feel over time. Shared meals became less about spectacle and more about connection, about gathering everyone around the table and letting the food act as the excuse, or the vehicle, for real conversation. This shift in philosophy inspired what Georgia now calls her freelance approach to cooking. Instead of tying herself permanently to a single venue, she moves between pop-ups, residencies, and collaborations with restaurants in different cities and countries. This way of working lets her carry ideas, ingredients, and influences from one place to another, while adapting to each local context. Some might find this nomadic style risky or unstable, but is that exactly what keeps her food evolving and alive? That path eventually brought her back to Canberra for a kind of homecoming, teaming up with chef Will at Lunetta Trattoria. Lunetta, perched at the Red Hill Lookout, already has a reputation for delivering modern yet approachable Italian food, framed by one of Canberra's most beautiful views. Golden hour on Red Hill, with the light spilling over the city below, is already special, and on this particular day, it becomes the backdrop for La Tavolata. La Tavolata, literally translating to something like a tableful, is all about abundance and togetherness. For this one-day-only event, the focus will be on communal dining, fire-led cooking techniques, and seasonal local produce treated with Roman sensibilities. Living Earth Farm, near Young, will be providing baby globe artichokes, showcasing how regional growers can be at the heart of a classically inspired Italian menu. Spring Lamb will star alongside a Lazio-style cacciatora, enriched with what Georgia calls Rome's holy trinity of flavors, anchovies, garlic and rosemary. These dishes reflect the idea that Italian doesn't have to mean imported ingredients. It can also mean Italian methods and traditions applied to what grows nearby. That approach is central to Lunetta Trattoria's cooking, which has already brought a fresh, modern take on Italian food to Canberra. Georgia has said that the Lunetta team was genuinely open to her vision of turning the event into a shared feast rather than a standard, separate plate service. The result is a menu and format designed to encourage conversation, long tables, lots of shared platters, and courses that invite people to pass, taste and talk. The Lunetta team, from the kitchen to the floor, has embraced the idea, creating a sense that this event will be something both playful and distinct from their usual offering. It's a chance for regulars to experience Lunetta in a new way, and for newcomers to see what Italian hospitality can look like when La Tavolata is taken seriously. The La Tavolata event will take place on Sunday, the 7th of December, at Lunetta Trattoria, located at the Red Hill Lookout at 60 Red Hill Drive. There will be multiple sittings throughout the day, and bookings are essential, so guests are encouraged to secure their place in advance via Lunetta's website. Those wanting a preview of the restaurant style, or a behind-the-scenes look at the lead-up to the collaboration, can also follow Lunetta Trattoria on Instagram for updates, photos and stories. But here's where it gets interesting, and maybe a bit controversial for some traditionalists. Events like this raise a bigger question. What does it really mean to honor an authentic Italian tradition like La Tavolata when you're doing it in Canberra, with Australian produce and a chef whose journey runs through London and Rome? Is authenticity about location, ingredients, techniques, or the feeling around the table? Some people might argue that unless you're in Italy, with Italian-grown ingredients, you're only ever creating an interpretation, a tribute rather than the real thing. Others would say that the heart of La Tavolata is the sense of shared abundance, conversation and community, and that those values absolutely can travel, adapt and thrive anywhere in the world. And then there's the added twist of Georgia's freelance culinary model. Does a chef need a permanent restaurant home to build genuine community? Or can that community form around temporary, pop-up experiences? And this is the part most people miss. Events like this aren't just about one night of good food, they're experiments in how food cultures can migrate, evolve and still feel deeply meaningful. So what do you think? Can a Roman-style communal feast in Canberra be just as authentic and emotionally powerful as one held in Italy? Do you love seeing chefs move between cities and collaborations like this? Or do you prefer the stability of a chef rooted in a single restaurant? Share your thoughts, agree, disagree, or challenge the whole idea of authenticity in the comments.